And I'd like to call to the stage our first seating will be for state representative for District 30. And I'll ask Vanessa Hicks-Callaway and Jean Morrison to come up and take their place at the table. And while they're coming up here, just a little bit of information. And I took this off of the Texas government website. I know they do a lot more than this, but just kind of as an overview, the Texas House of Representatives is composed of 150 members, and each one is elected to 2-year terms. A member of the House must be a citizen of the United States, must be a qualified elector of the state, and must be at least 21 years old. He or she must have been a resident of the state for 2 years immediately preceding the election, and for 1 year immediately preceding that election. They have to be a resident of the district where they're running. The House of Representatives elects one of its own as a presiding officer. That's the Speaker of the House. The House creates and enforces its own rules and judges the qualifications of its members. The House of Representatives, together with the state, Texas Senate, they constitute the entire Texas legislature. The duties of the legislature, and again, I know this is a really short list, they include consideration of proposed laws and resolution, consider proposed constitutional amendments for submission to the voters, appropriation of all funds for the operation of state government. All bills for raising revenue considered by the legislature must originate in the House of Representatives. The House alone can bring impeachment charges against a statewide officer, in which charges are then tried in the Senate. So welcome to the stage, ladies, and thank you both for stepping forward for office. Colin, over to you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Lieutenant Colonel retired Vanessa Hicks-Callaway, and I'm very pleased tonight to be here to ask for your vote as I try to become the next representative for the Texas House for District 30. I certainly want to thank Victoria College and the League of Women Voters for allowing us to have this opportunity to talk to you tonight. I've said many times before, I believe I'm the right choice at the right time for the right future for District 30. I am pro-God, I am pro-gun, I am pro-legal immigration, I am pro-Texas values, and I am also pro-limited government and small government. I would like you all to know that this happens to be Black History Month. And so happy Black History Month out there, and I will tell you I am a Republican because the Republican Party was started because of the abolitionist movement to do away with slavery. So I'm very proud tonight to be a Republican and to support Republican causes and to be a conservative. One of the first things I want to do, if you choose me to be your state legislator, is take a look at Hurricane Harvey recovery funding. We know that my opponent talks about the 41 bills that came out of the Hurricane Harvey Recovery Committee. However, what I want to do is take a proactive stance and make sure that we are setting conditions in our counties to be prepared for these disasters before they occur. For example, one of the first things I would do is take a look at what we can do about the coronavirus. What are we doing? Are we doing anything to make sure that we're prepared in case that disaster hits Texas shores? We need to have proactive leadership able to do that. One of the other pieces of legislation I would push for would be to make sure that when it comes to public education, every single dollar is definitely being spent on our students in the most proper way. Making sure that those marketable skills that you can get through welding, electricity, agriculture, farming, oil refinery, and also through plumbing, that children have an opportunity to look at jobs like that. So as your representative, those are some of the things that I would be pushing for. The other thing I will push for is for your Second Amendment rights. Thank you.
Thank you both for your opening comments. Galloway, the same question to you. Why should that 19-year-old voter vote for you and not your opponent?
I believe the 19-year-old voter should vote for me because I'm a woman. I've been all over the world. I've been to Belgium, France, United Arab Emirates. I've been to Iraq. I've been to Kuwait. So I bring to the table a worldview. I want to help businesses to look at local markets to make Texas even more economically sound and economically viable. I bring that to the table. I would say that at 19-year-old, I have a 20-year-old who happens to be a student at Sam Houston State University. So I still feel your pain. I'm close to what you're going through. I'm close to what you're experiencing because my son happens to be a student, so I would be able to speak to some of your concerns. I also feel that that 19-year-old should vote for me because of my experience as a soldier on the battlefield in Iraq. Yes, I have deployed, I have a Bronze Star, and I'm also deployed in support of Operation Enduring Freedom. So the 19-year-old needs to know that if you send me to be your Texas legislator, you are sending someone that's strong, someone that's going to fight for that person and try to do my very best to represent you and keep this great state as red as possible so that you'll have an opportunity at the free enterprise as well. Thank you.
Well, thank you both for that question. The next question will go to you, Ms. Hicks-Callaway. You'll answer first. Do you have any plans to help put a cap on insulin costs like Colorado's House Bill 1216?
As far as having a plan, I haven't thought about putting a plan together, but I do understand how the Texas legislature works. It was started by getting in touch with those that are deeply impacted by the insulin crisis. So I would look at that level of expertise, and then I would try to be a part of the committee that addresses that issue. Then I would look at the assistance that you get as a Texas legislature from those who help to write bills, and I would make sure that we created a bill that would support that issue. So I don't have that answer, but I would seek out the expertise and come forward with the best answer possible to handle the insulin issue. Thank you.
The question to you, Ms. Hicks-Callaway, is the same one. How do you feel about the pay for state representative? Should they earn more or less?
The way I feel about the pay for a state representative is I think that that's plenty, because my mindset, I am a servant leader. I've served this nation for 26 years as a soldier. I'm also very, very active in my community. I happen to be a part of the Kiwanis Club. I'm the past president. I also work with the Old Landmark Committee. I am on the board for the Golden Crescent Habitat for Humanity. I have also worked with many, many other organizations here. So when I do these things, it's not for compensation. It's because the Lord our God said that it is more blessed to give than to receive. So for me to have an opportunity to be your next state representative, that would be pay enough. I would be incredibly honored to have the opportunity to say that, yes, I represent this great district that I feel is the center of the universe. Texas is the center of the universe, but the 30th, if I could be your representative, that would be the same as having Solomon's gold. Thank you.
And the next question is for you. Again, Ms. Hicks. On the Republican ballot, there is a proposition, and the person who wrote the question would like to know, what is your position on limiting state legislators' terms to 12 years?
I have thought about term limits and that issue about limiting a state legislator's term to only 12 years. I actually, even though it would help me in this instance, I do not support term limits. However, if the voters decide that that is what they want, then of course I will be in support of that. I believe that the Constitution speaks for itself, that we can choose our representatives every 2 years. And so as voters and all of you out there demonstrating that you are not apathetic, I believe you have the ability to choose who you want your representatives to be every 2 years, and you don't need additional legislation, because I'm all for limited regulation and limited government telling you, hey, your 12 years is up, you need to choose another representative. I think the Constitution is enough. And I also believe that, like I said, although it would help me if there was a term limit in this situation, considering that I am up against someone with 20 years, it would help, but I'm against it.
Ms. Hicks-Callaway, same question to you. What are your priorities if elected?
Yes, my priorities, if I am elected, I would certainly leverage the fact that Governor Abbott appointed me to be a part of the Cardiovascular Disease and Stroke Prevention Council and also the Texas Medical Board. I am a former appointee, so I want to be able to leverage that and try to do my best to promote health and to keep health costs down. I'm also very concerned also about redistricting. I want to make sure that within the next 87th legislature that we do an accurate job of taking advantage of the data that will come in as a result of the U.S. Census. So I would say promoting strong health care, keeping costs down, making sure that the lines that are drawn are done in a very fair manner. And the last priority I have is to continue to promote all those pro-life issues so that we continue to promote life and make sure that all people, just like our Constitution says, has that right to life, liberty, and has the ability to pursue happiness.
Well, thank you both. That is all the questions that we have for our candidates for state representatives. So again, we thank you for stepping forward to run.